Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, and all of those followers out there. We appreciate you all. We love you. Thank you for subscribing. Do us a favor. If you like the videos you watch, please go ahead and promote them. Post them on your Facebook. Spread the word. Let people know how we're changing the world one person at a time. Today's message is a very short one, but it's probably the biggest thing you'll ever fight or overcome or be destroyed by in your life. And that is you. The hardest enemy I have ever fought in my life, and I have fought, well, I stopped counting my physical actual fights after 300. When I was young, I learned that real fighters pick a number, and most of them were picking like 100 or 150 fights, and they felt that when they get to that many fights, that they had arrived in an elite level that put them in a class of their own, kind of a thing. So when I heard that, I noticed nobody had 300, so I threw out foolishly. Some say foolishly. I don't know if it was foolish, but I threw out the number 300. I'm like, okay, well, my number's 300. And people are like, okay. And then I did. I not only got to my 300, I just stopped counting after that and was in hundreds of fights. In one place I lived in Kansas alone, my arrest record shows that I was actually arrested every weekend. They would arrest us at a bar for a fight. I went in with a friend of mine, and we would just go into a bar and start a fight. And don't get me wrong, I took a lot of beatings and a lot of punches, but there was not one time during that period that I ever was knocked unconscious and pulled to the hospital. I was that last guy standing. And I took pride in that. We'd take on a ton of people at one time, and me and my friend would just, I mean, again, we had bones broken. We had, stabs from beer bottles and all kinds of stuff, claws, you name it. But every week. And that was after my 300th number. And so uh, that average was probably 5, 6 guys a week that I fought every single week. And the funny thing is, when people ask me, what's the toughest opponent you've ever had in your life? And I just point right here. And they're like, what? And I'm like, me. I am my toughest opponent. I am the most relentless opponent. You are your hardest, worst opponent. You are your toughest opponent. You see, it's inside of each one of us that choices are made. It's not outside. Outside is noise. It's outside. It's all noise. That noise might be family. That noise might be business. That noise might be employees. That noise might be doctors. That noise can be a lot of things. But the truth is, the noise coming from out, you control it. You and you alone. Whenever I choose to be sad, and it's a choice, say, no, it's not a choice. BS. No, it's a choice. It's not easy. When you lose a son, I'm just starting to be able to speak of it. It's not easy, but I have to choose. Do I want to hold on to the bad memories, like the passing, or do I want to hold on to the good and focus on the good? You see, every one of us do evil acts every day. You say, no, you don't. Most people would say Mother Teresa was a saint. Mother Teresa's own words said that she did evil acts because in her mind sometimes she thought that person was very mean. Now, did she go out and do drugs and do all kinds of violence? No. But Mother Teresa made mistakes too, just like you and me. And here's the thing, you and me control it. See, I can choose to allow my past, and I've been hurt by some of the best. And I can choose to focus on that. And I can say to myself, I'm going to focus on the fact that these people did me wrong. The only person you're hurting is yourself. You'll drive off everyone around you. You will force people to not want to be around you. I know people that all they want to talk about is how our U.S. government is horrible and evil and bad. I would like to take them, pick them up, and drop them in about 5 or 6 different countries that I've been to, and then you can come back to America and then tell me how it is. See, one of the beautiful things about this country is we allow people to come here and piss on the flag. Sorry if that offends you, but we do. We allow you to burn the flag, to spit on the flag, to tell us how evil this country is, and we actually will defend you to have that right. Now, my family fought for this country in many wars, and my family taught me to value this flag. What does it mean? And so I would never spit nor burn. Matter of fact, if my flags ever even become a little tear, I dispose of them properly, the way my grandfather taught me how to do it, in a proper ceremony, in a fire. And so people want to complain about the country. That's they have an issue. Okay. People want to always talk about their spouse. I mean, you don't understand. I got this kid. My kid does all this stuff. My dad used to say that. My kid, my birth dad. Everything that would go wrong, I got the blame for. That's fine. See, here's the reality. The government's not messing your whole world up. You are. Stop focusing on it. Your wife and your children, your dads, your moms, no matter what they say, it's your life. Yours and yours alone. And you are the only person who can determine how you're going to take all the noise and process it. Not all noise is bad. I have a lot of good noise. My wife talks to me a lot about kindness. It's something I work on, to be very kind. I know a lot of people think, and he's a really mean guy. He's always tough and rough and hard. Yeah, that's true. But I don't share with you all the kind acts that I do. I try to do a lot of kind things. Pay people's rents. Pick up a bill. Show up when I know they have no food with food. Take them out to restaurants to treat them to a wonderful meal that they could never afford. Small things. And so my wife's influence coming in, I process it and go, okay, we can be more kind. Okay. All right. And there's an opposite to that. Being kind doesn't mean you have to be taken advantage of. I don't let my wife nor me get taken advantage of. Being kind, or I should say sometimes too kind, maybe is a word to say. And I know people are like, you can't ever be too kind. There's a point where sometimes if you're kind to the same person so many times that they're just taking advantage of you. You know, they're calling because they need more money. I just helped a client get rent money. Our company did, my wife and our nonprofit. And they weren't happy because it wasn't enough. And so I hear this all the time. I have someone on the peninsula and I have people all over the state. And I hear from people that are like, man, I only got $1,000 from a program. They could have given me millions. They could have bought the house. I had one guy tell me last week, I can't live in just a 1-bedroom studio. I have to have a house to myself. And I'm like, you're on the street. You're homeless. And you're not willing to take a place that they're willing to let you in. That's a studio because it's not your house. Let me tell you something. When I walked out of prison, I had $20 to my name. All the millions were behind me. All the accolades and the commissions and the titles and all that stuff. I couldn't sell it to save my life. But I took that $20 and I put it into the best investment I know out there. You're looking at them. Me. You are also your greatest investment. One of the reasons why, if you're part of our church, then you know you're invited to all of these conferences. We pick up the tab and pay for our men at the men's homes and at Jonathan's Refuge. We pay for them to come to Tony Robbins events that cost thousands of dollars. We pay for trainings for them. We buy material and books and audio and video programs because the best investment you can make is you. But the reverse side of that is the worst investment can also be you. So what are you? Are you the worst investment right now? Or are you the best investment? Back in the day, I was the worst investment. Oh, I put into me, make no mistake. I studied all the different kinds of martial arts. I became an expert in a few of them. And I became so deadly with these hands. I don't need a gun. To this day, when a cop car pulls me over for speeding, I know what you're thinking. Why are you speeding? I still get pulled over from time to time with that lead foot. I was a good wheel guy, okay? But here's the thing. About half the time, it's a simple ticket. I just come up, all right, license, registration. I'm very polite. And then they come back, give me a ticket, or let me go. The other half of the time, it's not that way. They take my license and registration. They go back to the car, and 2 or 3 squad cars get called in, and they pull up, and one pulls in front of me, and they get out with their hand on their gun. Another one pulls up next to us or blocks the whole road next to us. Another tactical team. It happens. The old me invested so much into that violent world that I still pay for that to this day. And that's okay. It's a price I still pay. It's called reaping and sowing. I sowed those, so I reap that. Is it fair? That's life. Life's not fair. The Buddha said life is suffering. So life equals suffering. When you're born into this world, you're born naked with nothing. I don't care if your family's a billionaire. You walked out of your mother's womb with nothing, nothing in your hands, nothing at all. Now, if you inherited it all from your family and you got billions from them, God bless you. But you started it with nothing. And maybe you're like me. You were born on a poor little country pastor who had nothing. And so when I started out again, I had 20 bucks. And I knew the best investment was me because I had the right mindset. What is your mindset? Is everyone always out to get you? Is it always a conspiracy theory? Oh, you don't know what's going on. You guys are pretending to pretend. Well, I had a friend that did that. Remember Y2K? For those that don't remember, there was this thing called Y2K, 1999, on January 1st. All the computer systems were going to crash in the world because they didn't calculate. Oh, no, it's going to go 2000. It's going to reset everything. The banks will crash. All your money's going to disappear. It's been planned. The G7 did it. The Bilderberg group did it. The men and the boogeymen in the closet did it. And a very good friend of mine who was an investor with me, he was worth not millions, tens of millions of dollars. He liquidated all of his assets. He bought a huge property down south in Costa Rica. He sold everything, put it into gold and silver, bought ammunition and guns. Y2K came. January 1st happened. Nothing happened. No blackout, no bank explosion, no conspiracy theory. Are there bad people out there that are trying to hurt people? Yes. Are there Democrats and Republicans that are trying to waste our money and spend all of our cash? Absolutely. But if that's all you focus on, you're the only idiot because you're the one that's allowing them to control you. I see people get worked up and their face changes, their eyes, they squint, they get angry. I don't like it if someone tries to take my money, but I'm not going to sit there and focus on the bad. I'll focus on how to prevent them from not taking what's mine. I'll focus on preventing from me getting hurt, but I'm not going to sit there and focus on it. I listen to the news every day. I need to be aware of the news. I need to know what's going on. I oversee multiple companies. I oversee multiple organizations, and I like to have my fingers on the pulse beat of America. But here's what I don't do. I don't watch it at nighttime. I get it in the morning. I get my news in. I find out what's going on. The second they start repeating the same story, I got my news. I don't need to hear that the person got murdered by 3 people last night 10 times. And I surely don't need to turn on the big broadcasting networks, the Fox and the CNBCs and all these things that are out there, MSNBC, whatever they are, CNNs. Doesn't matter. They'll talk about the same story. Joe Biden's families are devils and crooks. Okay, probably ours. Probably some truth to that. Donald Trump and his family are crooks. Okay, there's probably some truth to that. But they'll watch it for hours. They'll listen to it on the radio for hours. They'll surf the web for hours. Do you know what they did? You've got to break that because you're your worst enemy. You're the reason why you're where you're at. Stop focusing on all the noise. Shut it down. I challenge you, if you're that person that just listens to this crap all day long, turn it off for a 30-day period. I dare you to do it because I know people out there that I don't think could do it. I don't think you could put the phone down. I know people who tell me, see, I post stuff on Facebook, but you know what I don't do? I don't surf Facebook. I tell my friends I'm really sorry. They're like, "Oh, did you see my thing?" And I'm like, yeah, "Sorry, I don't look at it. I go on to post a couple things about inspiration, and that's really it. Or maybe I'll post some pictures or something to do with my family because I wanted some of the family on there to see it and to remember it for years to come. I dare you to tell yourself, go Google it. You can actually find a way to tell you how many hours you spend on Facebook. Shut it off for a month, an entire month. Now, I'm talking completely. You do not touch the app. Or for those that are into those conspiracy theories, shut down your vlogs or your blogs. Get off of listening to the radio show or the talk show host that you listen to for 30 days. Stop watching the news at night. Get it in the morning. Get it out of the way. And just get your local news. You don't need to watch the national news. You don't. The local will tell you any major events that's occurring in the country if it's a major event. How one more senator had sex with one more intern is not a major event. You don't need to focus on that. Focus on you. Because I've learned something. I've made millions and I've lost millions. But the noise, again, I determine what I allow in. And I determine how I'm going to react to it. I can say it's someone else's fault all day long. And it could be. There's people who start arguments with me all the time. I start arguments. I do. I don't realize I'm doing it. And then I do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I just started an argument. Now, over the years, I hope that I've gotten better. I believe I've gotten better. I don't believe I'd get to the place in life where I'm at without having improved. But I'm sure I have a few haters out there that would say otherwise. And so I try on a daily basis to remember the best investment's me. So that's why I'm always trying to listen to stuff, a book on. I go through a book a week, every week, sometimes two. I listen to them on Audible or I read them. And I do sometimes both because I want to really engulf this and take down what they're saying. I want to talk about whatever it is, positive attitude and how it can determine your altitude or the lack thereof in altitude. And so when you start to realize, well, I'm this age and I don't have something happening for me, you're the only one that can change that. I have a young man, and I'm not going to say his name. He's a spiritual son to me. He's got more money than he's ever had in his entire life now. He's got a full time career. He's going to have more money in his investments accounts. Well, right now, he's got more in there than most people I know, but he's going to have more than people in his family combined. Now, he didn't get to this place because he listened to all this negative stuff. He focused in on what I was saying. He listened. He saw me. He heard me. And he listened. And he focused. And he stayed focused. And I just kept focusing on, don't worry about the rest of the world. Fix you. Don't worry about me. Fix you. Don't worry about anything else. Just fix you. Stay on you. And then no matter what, then you control it. I got in an argument with someone today, and I realized I could have kept quiet. I chose not to. I chose wrong. So I'm working on that. I'm working on where's that fine line. And that's a job. It takes effort. It takes work. So you've really got to pour yourself into yourself because you're the one that's causing your own problems. Nope, it's not me. If you're the one saying that, brother, sister, it is totally you. You're in the biggest denial and you're the one that's dangerous to yourself the most. See, if you can admit you have faults, I have plenty of them. I can give you the list and they're long. If you can give yourself your own list, if you can write it down, I dare you to write it down. I share mine on a weekly basis with my mentors, and I ask for them to help me improve them. And some weeks we can only focus on one thing because that's all I got in me. Other weeks I can tackle 5, 6, 7, 10 of them. You say, no way, you got 10 major problems? We all do. Driving angrily, someone cuts me off. Well, let me tell you. I can go on. And I've improved it this year. In that traffic, I don't let people own me anymore. See, when you rage about the government, they own you. You're owned by them. You're owned by the people who you profess to hate. Stop it. Stop allowing all the noise to dictate to you how you're going to act. Start listening to happy music. Start listening to happy shows. Now, What is a happy show to me is not a happy show to my wife. Okay. My wife, when she says a happy show, she loves the old, if I'm not around, she just turns on one of them old classic TV land channels and watches like I Love Jeannie or I Love Lucy or whatever it is, the Bewitched show or whatever, just old, funny little comedies. She loves those things. Yeah, not me. I love Goodfellas and John Wick and The Godfather, and they crack me up. I find that humorous. So I find myself, when I need a good laugh, throw on a great action, get them, knock them down, drag them out, because I came from that world. And it's not how it happens in the movies. People always say, "Hey, Rev, is that how it happened?" Yeah, absolutely not. It's a joke and it's comedy. And so for me, that is my relief. And for my wife, she has hers. We need to find our own. So find your relief, whatever that might be. As I end this and wrap it up in 20 minutes here, I just want you to focus on you. I want you to invest into you. I want you to defend yourself against you. So you need to write down in a journal, what is it that I do wrong so often? What's the one thing that gets me in trouble? And if you can't find it yourself, you're blind. Just like the young man or the young girl going through puberty who can't smell that they stink. And everyone's like, oh my God, does someone want to tell that person they stink? They can't smell their own stench. Sometimes you're in a place where you can't even see what you're doing wrong. And that's okay. I have mentors in every aspect of my life. I have financial investors. I have a billionaire and two men that make over $100 million a year and they do nothing but Wall Street. I got some of the greatest ears out there. I've got family members who are investors just starting out the last few years and they cranking it out and crushing it. If I need advice, I go to my mentors in that world. I don't pretend I know it. I go to them. I'm good at what I do. I stay in my lane. But I still got to play in other lanes. So get advice, get a marriage counselor, get a personal counselor. Well, I don't got money for that. Pick up a second job, make time for it. Maybe if you spent that extra $100 on a weekly session with a therapist, maybe you would be in a better position at your company because you open your eyes up and realize you smell a little and you can fix it and elevate yourself. All I want to do is to help you guys become the best version of yourselves. I love you. God loves you. You know the drill. Live positive. But this week, as you live positive, remember, you have to positively impact yourself to change the world. You first have to change yourself. I love you guys. We'll see you next week.